Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Corn popping. There I am. Yikes. I did everything last minute again. Even though I started like 2 hours ago, but for some reason it still took me a long time. Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin'. I am your host, Alato Malato. Popcorn Poppin' live every Sunday at 7. Your weekly streaming guide of what to watch in a world of too many choices and not enough free time or free time to waste time. Anyways, tonight's spotlight films are The Flash, The Blackening in theaters, and Extraction 2 on Netflix. This is the first time I'm doing it with the script. Should probably change up the windows a little bit. That way, I'm less confused about what I'm saying. There we go. All right. Anyways, okay, make sure I'm in a good position for this and Instagram. If you're watching this on Instagram, be sure to tune into the YouTube channel of Jermaine Higgins Presents. Let's talk some news that actually happened. The Flash Helmer, Andy Muschietti, to direct Batman Brave and the Bold. He inks first look deal at Warner Brothers. James Gunn actually announced this while I was in the theater watching The Flash. And this guy directed The Flash, which is in theaters right now. We'll talk about that a little later. And he also directed Mama and It's Chapter 1 and 2. The movie Batman Brave and the Bold will be released, what we're thinking 2025, 2026, maybe, but not sure. But will James Gunn change his mind about actually having this Andy Muschietti direct the film after looking at the $55 million debut box office numbers? Probably so. I feel like he's a guy that wouldn't go back on his word, but then again, he's someone who is in a very tight spot when it comes to needing superheroes to be revived in cinema in general, but also in DC to be more specific. Other news is Linda Hamilton got casted in the new Stranger Things season that is yet to be filmed. And I don't think that they've resumed filming since the Writer Guild, right? WGA strike. And I'm not talking about bowling. You should know what I'm talking about. But apparently they casted Sarah Connor. So that's cool. If you don't know who she is, she's from Terminator, Terminator 2, and Terminator Dark Fate. I actually don't know what other movies she's known for besides Sarah Connor. So we should probably do our research on that, huh? All right. Here is a heads up for June 30th, where in a couple weeks, this movie is going to come out, and you guys should probably catch up on it if you'd like. You can watch all of the Indiana Jones films on Disney Plus right now, including Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, everyone's favorite, isn't it? So there's that. And let's see anything else. That's it. So June 30th is Dial of Destiny. I'm excited for Dial of Destiny. I think it's very unnecessary to do another Indiana Jones, but I like James Mangold. This would be the first movie that what's his name wouldn't have directed. Steven Spielberg wouldn't have directed. James Mangold previously did Logan, The Wolverine, 310 to Yuma. He's a great director. So I think that that'll be good. Before we talk about the spotlight films, which are The Flash, The Blackening, and Extraction 2, along with the Limelight show Black Mirror, let's talk about things that I'm watching right now real quick and what I do recommend in a way. So there's Justified, which is on Hulu. It's an older show, but it is a really well-made show that's going to have a mini series come out in July. I believe it's going to be July 18th. So I'm currently trying to catch up on that. I highly recommend it if you like good writing. It is a Western with Timothy Olyphant. Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on FX, but Hulu next day. This is their 17th season. I said that as a joke, but I think I'm pretty close. And this new season's okay. It's making me laugh. I just miss the old days. Platonic. Whoops, that's not Platonic. The Idol, which is on HBO Max, or I'm sorry, Max. Pretty I think it's an interesting subject matter, but I will say that the last episode, the first half of it, I'm like, oh, this is intriguing to see what it's like to be a young star getting pushed by their handlers to do something, even though you're obviously going through something that's very challenging to you mentally and physically, apparently. And then the second, should I say the last 20 minutes, it's pornographic with what's his name? The Weeknd like saying some outlandish, wild shit, but also just it was strange. It was sexy, but it was pornographic. It was pornographic. Lily Rose Depp is very good in the show, though. I'm glad that she can show that she has a lot of range, especially in the beginning parts of it. So I don't know if I recommend it yet. It's just definitely would say don't watch it with your kids if you have any. Eric Andre show, if you like absurdist comedy, Sundays at midnight on Adult Swim. Platonic on Apple TV Plus stars Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. This show used to be only just worth it for Rose Byrne. I love Seth Rogen a lot, but she just outshines every aspect of the show besides her great acting. But lately the episodes have been really good. This past episode actually dealt more with the relationship between Rose Byrne's character and her husband, and also Seth Rogen's character actually growing up. So I'm actually very excited for next week. Show got a lot better, so it's definitely popping. I recommend it. Silo, I don't necessarily recommend. It takes place in a silo, in a post-apocalyptic world where you can't go on the Earth's surface because there's some disease or something up there that'll kill you right away. But there's some sort of conspiracy going on. It's very well directed and very well made in that aspect. I just think like script writing wise, it's hey, it's made it on TV, so I can't judge, but it seems very formulaic and like it's unlike any new thing I've heard before, as in I've heard it all before. Class of 09, I haven't caught up on this in a while, but it's intriguing. It's on Hulu Wednesdays. It's got Kate Mara and Brian Tyree Henry, but it's a little boring, so I wouldn't say popping. All right. What is coming out next week that I don't have? I'm sorry, not what's coming out next week. What has come out? The Flash this weekend. This is our spotlight film. Popping or not popping? I will say overall not popping. It's very silly. At first I was digging it. And it's got a 7.4 on IMDb, which isn't the greatest, but that's not too bad for how the movie was. I think that they were giving it a higher score than it deserved, to be honest. 67% on Rotten Tomatoes and $55 million opening weekend debut, I believe. Either way, I don't like numbers that much, but I thought they were important with this movie because this movie is supposed to be a big deal for the DCEU and for Ezra Miller in general. I'm assuming his controversy did turn away a lot of people. Plus, DCEU's current status is something that no one is very interested in. Hopefully, they will be more interested in James Gunn's reboots of this entire universe. But this movie should have done better in the box office and on screen. At first, it has like a more fun tone, something very similar to Shazam. Again, James Gunn has said that he loves this movie so much. It's one of his favorite superhero movies, or one of the best ever made. Having watched it, I was like, I don't know about that. It is more fun. It is a lot less dark, but it's silly in a good way for some parts. For instance, some of the positives I will say was the baby saving scene. That's all I'll say. And a microwave. That's all. Another thing I'll say. But it was a hilarious scene. It fucked with the reveal of the theme title, the title card, I guess you can say. I don't know. They just did some really cool stuff. They took some cool swings, but they did some other weird shit too. So it was a silly but fun movie. The Superman shout outs in that one scene where you see the multiverse, basically. I'm multiversed out. So that's another thing that this movie didn't have going for it, because MCU's doing multiverse so much that it's making you sick. To see another multiverse film in someone else's universe is annoying because of how many times I said verse and multi. But there is a part where they show all the Supermen, like they show different versions of Superman. I'll say that. I don't want to give away too much. They even have a deep cut of what could have been when it comes to Superman. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. That was probably my favorite part of the movie, because the characters in this are very two-dimensional, besides Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller, who went through some shit and may have hurt the film, but he's probably definitely not coming back as the Flash after this. I didn't think he was going to come back as the Flash, but now I definitely don't think he's going to come back in the Flash. So one main reason I don't like this movie, universe building and resetting and blah 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 blah. As a movie by itself, I didn't like the fact that all the characters were two-dimensional. They didn't really have personality. Michael Keaton's Batman, he can have that, because if you rewatch Batman and Batman Returns, Bruce Wayne doesn't really have that much of a pulse. So I bought that he didn't have much of a pulse in this one. Barry Allen is the only one that's like has shit going on with him. His dad, even though I love Ron Livingston, he's like, oh, no, don't worry about it, son. It sucks, but it sucks. I'm a good father. Iris West, played by Kiersey Clemens, who I really, really enjoy, but she wasn't utilized in this film, her character or her acting. They had some cute moments, but I don't know. They just could have done more with that. And young Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller. I don't like movies where there's a superhero movie where you get to go see your superhero do their powers in a movie. And what's the plot? Let's get rid of his powers. Like, no, we want to watch him use his powers. What the fuck? And yes, we see him use the powers, but the main storyline is he loses them. And that's, I find that storyline annoying. I didn't enjoy a lot of young Barry. He was mostly an annoying stoner that is, I wouldn't say Ezra Miller's fault, because Ezra Miller played it fun and whatnot and stoner-like, but there's so much focus and thus investment in his character being likable on screen that it was annoying to watch. Like, my theater was doing not just for young Barry, but for the film in general. My theater was yawning and coughing and like ready to go. This movie was too long, by the way. I don't know what's going on with all these superhero movies, but I think that if you just cut out an hour, everyone will like them more, because people are really ready to leave my movie theater. 2 hours and 24 minutes. They absolutely could have taken out an hour. It just, it didn't even have like a core villain. And every time you thought you knew the villain, it was someone else. And I don't know. Anyways, they had weird CGI a lot. I think the reason that they did I feel like they purposely did bad CGI, because there's a scene where they're in a chrono bowl the first time. It's where he's in his time machine, and they show these really cool idea for visuals in this bowl of him going through time in a time machine. Great idea, but yeah, the CGI looked funky. I was wondering why, until they showed the Superman scene where they show other Supermen. And one small spoiler I'll give you for that scene that is not imperative to the plot line of this film is they shout out, how about that? Actors like George Reeves. I'll say that. And they show him kind of, but I think because they're using like old footage and the AI of someone who is passed away from many years ago that we only have old footage of is not going to translate very well on film, we'll make it all kind of shitty CGI just in case. That was my intuition of why they did that. Even the deep cut, I was like, he looks weird, but in any case, yes, the CGI was a little fucky, but it wasn't too bad for me. I still enjoyed it. There was just a lot of scenes where you're like, okay, I get it. Anyways, what else? The final scene of the film was definitely a head scratcher. If you don't know, there are different versions of different people in this, and I wasn't expecting that version to show up, and I should have, but I liked it because I like that person that they showed. I didn't, but it was kind of a head scratcher, and I did not like at all when Barry's tooth falls out. That made me go, what the fuck? That's way too goofy. Too goofy, unlikable. No, again, you kind of, if you can gauge the audience that you're sitting in the theater with, and you're trying to decide whether or not you like what you're seeing, gauge how everyone else is thinking, and you'll probably get your answer. So yeah, it was kind of a swing and a miss, and I feel bad. It reminded me of Doctor Strange 2, and this is better than Doctor Strange 2, I will say, because like I said, they had so many moments where it had a lot going for it, but somewhere around the explanation of what was going on with Barry's mom, it just dragged. Barry's mom, that actress, is very good, and that storyline had a lot of heart. And the way that storyline with the tomatoes soup, I don't remember, the grocery store scene, the final grocery store scene, that was excellent. That was heartfelt. That was great. But overall, I'm sorry. I wish I could press a button and an animation would show up of "it's burnt" or "it's not poppin'." Not Poppin. You can wait for it on streaming. Oh, and the end credit scene, I think that they were giving a possibility of Lobo, and that's all I'll say for now without giving away too much. Maybe I'll talk about DCEU in the future with spoilers, but there's no reason to talk spoilers with this because this was a wacky fucking movie. And no offense to Andy, because I really enjoyed It Chapter 1. It Chapter 2 was okay. Mama was okay, but It Chapter 1 was very well made. I dig the hey, let's have fun approach. I just think there's still some work to do. And also, I will give this movie a pass because so many hands were on this movie for so many years. It took so long to make. But since it took so long to make, you'd think that they would have figured out a way to make it work. And it just didn't work, sadly. But you can judge for yourself. What else is in theaters? The Blackening. This movie, I liked it a lot. I think that this movie is perfect for someone like me, a mulatto. And it's because it questions like your blackness, and also it makes fun of the horror movie tropes of what they do with black characters. And it is very, 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 very funny at a lot of moments. There are other moments that are kind of corny, to be honest, but I did enjoy this movie a lot. I would like to say some of the cast, including, let's see, whoops, not that guy. Chris Hemsworth is not in The Blackening, sadly. Melvin Gregg, who plays Manboy from Snowfall, and he was also in House Party. Snowfall was good. X Mayo, who was a writer for Daily Show and was in the movie The Farewell. Grace Byers, who stars in Harlem and was in Power. Sinqua, I'm sorry, I fucked up your name. Walls, and he's from Power and White Men Can't Jump, which I still haven't seen. I heard bad things, but I'm sure that he's probably good in it. He was good in Power. Antoinette Robertson, who was in the TV adaptation of Dear White People. Jermaine Fowler, who I love, and he was very goofy in this with his character choices, but actually he did some good acting towards the end of his run in the film. And if you don't know him, he's from Coming to America, which, no offense to him, but I didn't like Coming to America because they focus so much on his character that you forget Eddie Murphy is in the fucking movie, and we all wanted to see it for Eddie Murphy. But that's not Jermaine's fault. Jermaine was very good in this movie. He's also, I love him from Friends of the People, which was a sketch show on TBS, I believe. And Dwayne Perkins, writer of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Amber Ruffin Show, but also co-wrote the film with Tracy Oliver. They both wrote this movie, so that's pretty cool that he starred and co-wrote it. But Tracy Oliver, who was the other writer that didn't star in the movie, wrote Girls Trip, Little, and helped create the show Harlem, which I do want to watch with Megan Good. It's on Amazon Prime. Anyways, this movie, The Blackening, was directed by Tim Story, who did the ride-along films, the Think Like a Man's, Shaft, the last one with Regina King, the kind of silly one. And Tom and Jerry, which I really loved. Tom and Jerry, which is on Max right now, I believe. I loved that movie. I thought that was a very good adaptation. Anyways, this movie also had Jay Farrow from SNL and Yvonne Orji from, and I'm probably saying that wrong, from Insecure. I overall dug this movie as a person that deals with race identity every day. I must say that this movie resonated with me on all funny levels. And it was funny. It was really, really good. I recommend it. I loved there were so many shout outs that I loved. To me, this seemed like a movie for black nerds in particular. But there were some character choices I found strange. I don't know many black people that do Molly or shrooms for that matter, but Molly was such a big subject in this. Adderall, they didn't do that drug correctly in my mind. I never had that kind of experience with Adderall besides being analytical. Apparently, I need an Adderall. Movie is poppin'. Go see it. I dug it. I don't really have much else to say about it. All right. Not Justified, man. Usually I have captions over here. I'm not using them tonight because I forgot until 2 minutes before airing, so we're not doing that. All right, Extraction 2. This movie was fucking awesome. It's not in theaters. It's on Netflix right now. If you haven't seen Extraction 1, go watch it. I gotta say, I never paid attention to the storyline in Extraction. I definitely didn't pay attention to the storyline in Extraction 2. I didn't give a shit about Extraction 2 storyline. It almost made me think that the movie wasn't going to be good until the action started. and they do the one-shot thing like they did in the first film, but they do it way longer. At first, I thought, man, I really wish they would have saved the one-shot scene for later, but no, they did it for the actual extraction scene, and it was badass. All this action, I think, was better than the first movie, to be honest. But the first movie is still very, very good. It's written. This movie is written by the Russo brothers, actually, or just Joe and Anthony only did the storyline. I don't know. In any case, this movie's really dope. Watch them on Netflix. You also see a familiar face, Idris Elba, Hamdo, and Thor reunion. And it definitely opens up for Extraction 3, which I'll absolutely watch. But yeah, if you want to see some badass action movie, it's Poppin', Extraction 2. Again, the story is like very boring. You won't pay attention to it. And there's a kid character in it that I did not like. I didn't like him at all. He was very annoying. Black Mirror. So to be honest, I only watched a few episodes of this. I was waiting on someone for the rest of them, but from the ones I watched, Joan is Awful is a hilarious opening episode for Black Mirror's new season. They haven't opened up with one that was this funny since Bryce Dallas Howard. No, not Bryce Dallas Howard. I'm sorry. What the hell is her name? I can't remember her name. It's the other redhead that everyone confuses her with. Fuck. Maybe it is Bryce Dallas Howard. Whatever. She, the one where she rated herself. It's not Uptime. That's an energy drink. Whatever. Who cares? This episode was hilarious. Joan is Awful. I don't know if I should give away some of the cast. Maybe I should, so it would entice you to know about it. I don't like knowing about cast mates before movies or television shows, especially when they usually get big names. But Salma Hayek was in this episode. I won't say any other cameos, but this episode was dope. Second episode, Lock Henry, to be honest, was a little boring for me, but overall, very well-written story with a very dark ending, especially when he reads the note. I was like, oh, shit, that's wild. And Beyond the Sea, which stars Aaron Paul and someone else who has been acting more as of recent years, but you haven't seen him since like the early 2000s in general. That one is very good. Is it a USS Callister sequel? I can't tell. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I guess I should mention it because this is a show about TVs and movies. The USS Callister episode with Jesse Plemons, the Star Trek episode. In the end of it, you hear Aaron Paul's voice. So the question is this a sequel-ish to that episode? I don't know. But the episode is a movie-length episode. It is very well made. A little slow, but still a very well made episode that's like a movie. With a dark ending. It went a little too far, but the final scene, you're like, huh, that's open-ended. Did he sit down or didn't he? It's hard to say. All right. Coming out next week that I won't watch, but I do want to mention Past Lives. It's about a woman who decides to meet up with an old love while being married. The reason I want to see this, it does look very well made, and it's got good reviews so far. Stars Greta Lee, who's in many things that I've noticed, but the ones that I remember are from Russian Doll, the show on Netflix with Natasha Lyonne, and the HBO show High Maintenance. She's an excellent comedic actress. I don't think I've seen her do serious work before, but this looks like a serious film. So that's coming out in theaters June 23rd. You will also see the return of The Bear. I didn't watch the first season. I watched a few episodes. It's well made. I just didn't dig it that much, but everyone and their mother tells me, you got to watch the rest of it, so I will. But that comes back Wednesday on Hulu. God is a Bullet, which stars Jamie Lannister, Nikolaj something or other. I can't pronounce his name. Jamie Foxx and Maika Monroe from what's that movie called? Don't Look Back. Where she gets chased. Oh man, I'm terrible at my job. What is The Watcher was more recent, but It Follows is the famous one. Anyways, this movie, it looks different, but it looks fucking wild. Check out the trailer. God is a Bullet. It's directed by Nick Cassavetes, who has a very strange filmography that includes Alpha Dog and Notebook. So he did a lot of those types of Notebook movies, Nicholas Sparks movies. I think he did like 2 or 3 of them. Anyways, this is not going to be a Notebook film. It looks like a hardcore, lots of tattoos film. Check it out. Check out the trailer. Got his own little bullet. There's not in many theaters around us. That's why I'm not seeing any of these besides The Bear. What I will see next week, and which I will talk about on the show, is Elemental, which is in theaters right now. I just didn't have time to see the new Pixar film. We'll also be talking about the Spotlight film, Asteroid City, which is Wes Anderson's next film. I don't know much about it. I feel like the poster says it all along with the title. I do know that Jason Schwartzman, a frequent collaborator of Wes Anderson, will be in the film, along with Bill Murray, of course. And I think I saw Tom Hanks. Maybe not Bill Murray. Not sure. In any case, I'm excited for it. We'll also be talking about, I wasn't as excited for this movie until I was looking for a picture to talk about it. The movie it's a funny storyline, and Jennifer Lawrence looks hilarious in it. She also looks smoking hot. But this picture made me laugh so much. No Hard Feelings, coming out June 23rd. It does look funny, and thank God it's R-rated, because I just wasn't very enticed with the trailer, besides with Jennifer Lawrence in general. What else? Secret Invasion. I didn't realize it was coming out next week. Wednesdays on Disney Plus. Secret Invasion with Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. He returns. All right, MCU, get your shit together. We'll also be talking about Righteous Gemstones, the return of the Danny McBride, John Goodman film show. It's hilarious. If you love Danny McBride as much as I do, if you love Eastbound and Down, you'll love this show. That's it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And I hope you guys had a good week. Oh, be sure to catch me, if you haven't, at the Planet Ant Theater in Hamtramck. I am in a sketch show called, well, Fuck Me, I guess. And that is at 7 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Saturday is going to be our closing night. We had a few shows. It's a funny show, and it's fun working with really fun people. The first show was a little, I don't know, it was me getting my footing personally. Everyone else was fantastic. But the second show, we did really well. I was very, very, very satisfied. Also, I recommend watching the show that comes on after us called Dumpland. It's a play. It's super fucking well made. Check it out. Planet Ant Theater, 7 p.m. Well, fuck me, I guess. Followed by the Dumpland. I don't think it's called the Dumpland. I think it's just called Dumpland. And you can pick up tickets at eventbrite.com. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. Goodbye.